On the topic of domestic cup competitions, Turk, there are changes coming to the FA Cup, which of course you can watch here on ESPN+. The big one is that replays have been scrapped. If you got a tie in the first round, no more second games, which has upset a lot of people. It's a big way for some of those lower tier teams to raise money. FA Cup games will now be played on weekends, fourth round, fifth round, quarterfinal. They're going to be played on weekends with no Premier League games, so some exclusivity. And Premier League teams are going to increase their funding for the rest of the English football pyramid as part of what is a 6-year deal here by £33 million a year, Herc. Any lessons here as it pertains to our domestic competition?
Well, a lot of parallels. Let me read to you some headlines that I found. A total lack of respect for the football pyramid. An absolute disgrace. Deal concocted in the corridors of power. Scrapping replays shows weakness, and whining billionaires win again. Final nail in the coffin for the football pyramid. This is all in a response, pretty much expansion, the calendar, the European expansion. What is the calendar? That's its response to it. You have to keep in mind that the FA Cup is the driving revenue factor, for the FA. So the FA is conceding to the Premier League, even though this is their major revenue factor. You mentioned it. Why are these small clubs against the replays being scrapped? Well, these small clubs, if there is a replay, that's another gate. That's also another chance for the promoters, the advertisers, the marketing dollars. You get more money there. The TV distributions, et cetera, et cetera. This is a massive blow to those teams, to those smaller teams, smaller leagues going forward, if you will. It just benefits the big boys. But there is some grassroots money being trickled on through. To what extent to these clubs, I do not know, but people are not happy in England.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't want to make it seem as though this is all good, right? This is definitely the big boys getting their way. They wanted to play less games, and the fact that they're not going to play these replays is going to be a financial hit for the smaller clubs. So it's somewhat a little bit of a similar feel to what happened here with the big boys seemingly getting preferential treatment from, in this case, the FA, in our case, the Federation. But Herc, I think there's some key differences here. That £33 million that they're going to throw on down the pyramid, that's on top of £100 million that Premier League teams already have to reinvest down the pyramid. We're talking about, when you do the conversion, the math, $165 million that the Premier League is pumping down the pyramid. Think about what MLS, all of MLS, makes from all of their TV deals, and then take out the production costs. It's less than $165 million. That's a massive amount of money.
So why aren't
the
they
Premier
happy?
League teams are shoveling it down because they want the game, Herc, because it's the romance of the cup. But
you think
at
it's
least,
just the romance?
At least, Herc, when the Premier League screws everybody else, they pay for it. They pay for it with $33 million, and there's a federation that has a spine to make them pay for it. It may not be a very strong spine, as people in England are complaining about right now, but at least it has a spine.
Listen,
our federation had no spine.
Do you want to know why they can pay that, Seb?
And the league, Herc, had no conscience. And that's the difference. The teams in the Premier League, they have a conscience, and they send that money on down the pyramid.
Yeah. Let me give you a wake-up call.
Because they know that they are part of something bigger. And that's what's lacking here.
Oh, that's
MLS
what they know,
refuses
Seb.
to acknowledge that
Seb,
it is part of something
Seb,
bigger.
I love how romantic you are. Your wife must be very happy with you. You're romantic at heart. I love it. But the reality here, Seb, is, and there is a major...
What is the reality? You and your billionaire friends. Tell me all about it.
Well, the reality is that the FA Cup, the broadcast rights are worth something. That the Premier League is the most valuable soccer product in the league in the world. That's a reality, okay? Nobody's paying those amounts of money for the Open Cup. Nobody's paying that amount of money for Major League Soccer. There's a stark reality to one and the other. But you can't hide what's going on. You may say it's positive, what's going on, the trickle-down effect, and at least they're paying for it. People are upset, not because they're romantic, because they're going to lose money here, Seb. These smaller clubs, it's literally a nail in their coffin. There is no
what's going to happen here? What's going to happen to our smaller clubs that don't play? They don't get the gate, and on top of that, Herc, they don't get any money down the pyramid. So our smaller clubs get screwed double.
You're making my point, Seb.
What?
You're making my point, Seb. I'm telling you, this isn't a good thing. I'm not trying to further drive the point of Major League Soccer. We've driven that point with Major League Soccer in the Open Cup. But you're trying to use this to drive that point. It's not the same thing. That's what I'm telling you.
Wow. So Premier League teams getting bossed by their federation. The FA in England has the stomach, the guts to stand up to Manchester United.
Getting
but
bossed
our
by the
federation
Premier League
doesn't have the guts to stand up to little old MLS.
Seb, it's the Premier League who's bossing the rest here.
Yes, but somebody at the federation is saying, okay, fine. You know what? Go ahead and we'll give away the replays, but give us an extra 33 million pounds.
Why are they doing it? Because the Premier League has them held hostage with this. They're calling the shots.
Then why doesn't the Premier League just leave? Why doesn't the Premier League just leave like MLS?
Maybe that's the next step, Seb. I don't know.
Because their federation has a spine. That's why.
No, they don't, Seb. They don't have a spine or they wouldn't do this.
They got something. They got something that our federation doesn't.
Money.